Welcome to the deep dive. Computer security. Okay, just saying, it can make you think of, hackers in dark rooms, stolen data.
Yeah,
It feels overwhelming, maybe even a bit scary for a lot of us.
it definitely can. There's so much news about scams and breaches.
Exactly. So our mission today, we want to cut through all that noise. We've looked at questions you're asking, gone through the research, and we're going to pull out the really important stuff, the things you can actually use to make navigating the online world feel, well, safer.
Yeah, it's about demystifying it, right? Giving you practical knowledge so you feel more empowered. Think of it as a shortcut to being more security savvy online.
And guiding us through this deep dive, we're really pleased to have a cybersecurity analyst with us today. You're here to tackle those common questions and maybe clear up some confusion.
Happy to be here. Let's try and make sense of it all.
Great. So what are we diving into? Well, we've got a list of the big ones. Things like, do you really still need antivirus software now in 2025?
That's a classic question.
In public Wi-Fi, how risky is it, actually? What exactly is ransomware? And crucially, how do you protect yourself?
Important one.
And why does everyone keep talking about two-factor authentication? Is it really that big a deal?
Oh, it is. We'll definitely cover why.
Plus, password reuse, is it as bad as they say? What's phishing, really? Are software updates just annoying or vital? What makes a password strong?
Good list?
And the age-old question, writing passwords on sticky notes, bad idea. How does it compare to password managers? We'll also touch on webcam hacking, real threat or paranoia. When should you click remember me? What does a firewall do?
The gatekeeper.
Right. And HTTPS versus HTTP, what was that S all about? Those scary you're infected pop-ups, ever real?
Spoiler. No. Okay. Free public Wi-Fi, again, the real dangers. What's a VPN? Do you need one? Those login with Google buttons safe?
Convenience versus risk there.
Should you let your phone save passwords? Do old phones become security risks? Can clicking one bad link really mess things up?
Oh, absolutely. And smart devices, your Alexa, your fridge security risks. And finally, we want to leave you with three simple things you can do right now to be safer.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with antivirus. Are you careful online? Maybe you think you don't need it anymore. Is it still a must-have in 2025?
Yeah, I'd say absolutely. Think of antivirus as your digital seatbelt, maybe.
Okay.
Even if you're a really careful driver, a cautious internet user, you can still stumble into something unexpected. Malware, that's just the general term for nasty software like viruses. It can hide in places you wouldn't think.
Oh, right.
So antivirus acts as that backup. It catches things your own good sense might miss. It's just that extra layer, like the seatbelt analogy. You wear it even if you drive carefully.
That makes total sense. It's the better safe than sorry layer.
Yeah.
Okay, now something that pops up everywhere. Two-factor authentication. 2FA. In plain English, what is it? And why is it pushed so hard?
Right, 2FA. Basically, it's like adding a second lock to your online door. Your password is the first lock. Right? 2FA makes you provide a second thing, usually a code. It might get sent to your phone, or maybe an app generates it.
Okay, code.
And the key thing here, what makes it so effective, is that even if a hacker gets your password, somehow they guess it, they steal it in a data breach, they still can't log in, not without that second code from your phone, which they hopefully don't have.
So it stops them right there.
It stops a huge number of attacks cold. It's probably one of the single best things you can do to protect your important accounts.
This is a strong recommendation.
Yeah.
Okay, so extra lock. Got it. Now, what are those free Wi-Fi hotspots? Coffee shops, airports? They're tempting. Are they really as dicey as people say?
Yeah, it's definitely wise to be cautious. The issue with public Wi-Fi is that, well, it's public. The data you send and receive isn't always automatically protected, meaning someone else on that same network could potentially intercept what you're doing. It's like having a conversation in a crowded room where anyone nearby could technically listen in.
Okay, that's not ideal, especially if you're doing banking or something. So how do you make that conversation more private in that digital crowd?
Good question. That's exactly where a VPN comes in, a virtual private network.
VPN, right.
It basically creates a secure, encrypted tunnel for your internet traffic. Think of it like putting your data into a secret coded message before it travels across that public network.
Ugh, scrambling it.
Exactly. So even if someone could intercept it, all they'd see is gibberish. It's especially useful on public Wi-Fi where you just don't know who else is connected.
Got it. So VPN for public Wi-Fi seems like a really solid move. Now let's tackle a habit. I suspect many of us are guilty of this one. Reusing the same password on multiple websites. How bad is that, really?
Yeah, it's pretty risky. Think about it like this. Say you use the same password for your email, your online shopping, and maybe some small forum you signed up for years ago.
Yeah.
If that small forum gets hacked, and smaller sites often have weaker security, and your password gets leaked, well, now attackers have the key to your email and your shopping accounts, too.
Ouch.
It's like having one key that unlocks your house, your car, your office, everything. If someone finds that key, you're in big trouble.
That paints a very clear picture.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the solution? Because remembering like 50 different complex passwords sounds impossible.
It pretty much is for most people, and that's exactly why password managers are so helpful.
Okay.
These are basically secure apps or browser extensions. They create and store really strong, unique passwords for every site you use. You only need to remember one strong master password to unlock the manager itself.
And it fills them in for you.
Yeah, most of them can autofill login forms. They take away the headache of remembering everything and make it easy to actually use unique passwords everywhere.
Okay, password managers are sounding less like a nice to have and more essential. Let's switch gears to phishing. We hear that term a lot. What exactly is phishing?
Phishing is basically digital trickery. It's when scammers try to fool you into giving up sensitive information, things like your passwords, maybe your credit card details, bank logins.
They do that.
They often impersonate legitimate organizations. You might get an email that looks exactly like it's from your bank, or maybe Netflix or PayPal.
Right.
Or it could be a text message or even a fake login page that looks identical to the real thing. The goal is to trick you into clicking a bad link or entering your credentials where you shouldn't.
Sneaky. So what are the red flags? How can you spot these fakes?
Well, first off, legitimate companies, especially banks, almost never ask for your password or full credit card number via email. So that's a huge red flag right there.
Okay, never email sensitive info.
Right. Also, watch out for messages that create urgency. Your account is locked, click here immediately. Or threats, you'll be charged unless you verify. Scammers love pressure tactics.
Makes sense. What about links?
Always hover your mouse cursor over a link before you click it, especially in emails. Look at the actual web address, URL, that pops up, usually in the bottom corner of your browser. Does it look weird? Does it not quite match the company's real website address? If it looks dodgy, don't click.
Hover before you click. Good rule.
And like we said, never reply to emails asking for logins or financial details. If you're worried about an account, open a new browser window and go directly to the official website yourself by typing in the address. Or call them using a number you know is genuine. Don't use the links or phone numbers in the suspicious email.
Excellent practical tips there. Okay, what about those software updates? The ones that constantly bug you on your phone or computer. Are they just annoying or actually important for security?
Oh, they are critically important for security. Seriously. Those updates often contain patches for security holes, vulnerabilities that have been discovered in the software.
Holes hackers could use.
Exactly. Hackers actively look for devices that haven't been updated because they know those specific weaknesses exist and how to exploit them. Ignoring updates is like leaving your front door unlocked after hearing there are burglars in the neighborhood.
Okay. Message received. No more hitting, remind me later, indefinitely.
It's one of the easiest and most effective security habits you can adopt. Just do the updates.
Got it. Now back to passwords briefly. We know password 123 is terrible, but what makes a password genuinely strong in 2025?
Strength comes from complexity and length, basically.
Yeah.
You want something long, think at least 12 characters, though honestly 15 or more is even better.
Longer is better.
And it needs to be random. A mix of uppercase letters, lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols. Like exclamation points, question marks, percent signs.
The whole mix.
Yeah. And crucially, avoid anything predictable or personal. No names, no birthdays, no perfumes, no dictionary words, no simple sequences like QWERTY or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The more random it looks, the harder it is for password cracking tools to guess.
Long, random, mixed characters. Avoid the obvious.
Got it. Now, the alternative to remembering all those, what about just writing them down? Is that sticky note under the keyboard ever? Okay.
Generally, no. It might seem convenient in the moment, but think about it. If someone finds that note, whether it's physically or maybe even digitally, if you store it in an unsecured file.
Right, they get everything. Exactly. It creates a single point of failure. If that one list is compromised, potentially all your accounts are compromised. We talked about password managers earlier. They really are a much, much safer way to handle this. Secure storage, easy access for you, difficult for others.
Okay, point taken. Sticky notes are out. Password managers are in. What about ransomware? That's another scary one we hear about, often involving big companies. But can it affect individuals too? What is it?
Oh, absolutely. It affects individuals. Ransomware is a type of malware, malicious software that encrypts your files. Basically, it scrambles them so you can't open or use them, your photos, your documents, everything.
Locks you out of your own stuff.
Precisely. And then the attackers demand a ransom payment, usually an untraceable cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, to give you the decryption key to get your files back.
Wow. How do you defend against that?
Several things. First, be incredibly careful about clicking links and opening email attachments, especially from unknown senders. That's a common way ransomware gets in. Keep your operating system and all your software updated. Remember those patches we talked about?
Yep. Plug in the holes.
And crucially, back up your important data regularly.
Yeah.
Use an external hard drive that you disconnect afterwards, or use a reliable cloud backup service. That way, if the worst happens and you do get hit by ransomware, you haven't lost everything. You can ideally restore your files from the backup without paying the criminals.
Backup, backup, backup. Okay, now this next one feels a bit like a spy movie, but webcam hacking. Is that a real thing regular people need to worry about?
It is a real thing, unfortunately. It's not
Yeah.
just paranoia. If a hacker manages to compromise your computer, maybe through malware or a phishing attack, they can potentially gain access to your webcam, often without the little indicator light even turning on.
Yikes. So they could be watching.
Potentially, yes. It
Yeah.
has happened. So the best defenses are the basics. Keep your system software and antivirus updated. Be careful what you download and install. And honestly, a very simple low-tech solution works wonders.
Yeah.
Cover your webcam lens when you're not using it.
Like with tape.
Yeah, a small piece of opaque tape, or you can buy those little sliding webcam covers pretty cheaply. It provides real peace of mind. If the lens is covered, they can't see anything, even if they somehow got access.
Simple but effective. I like it. Okay, what about when websites ask, remember me, or stay logged in? When is it okay to check that box?
The general rule here is only use that feature on your own trusted personal devices. Devices that aren't shared with anyone else, and importantly, that are properly secured themselves, meaning they require a strong password, a PIN, or biometrics like a fingerprint or face scan to unlock.
So not the family computer or a library PC.
Definitely not. On shared or public computers, or even your own laptop, if you don't have a good login password on it, checking Remember Me is risky. It means the next person who uses that device could potentially just open the browser and be logged straight into your account.
Makes perfect sense. Personal, secure devices only. Now, firewalls, we hear that word. What does a firewall actually do for our security?
Think of a firewall as a security guard, or maybe a gatekeeper, for your internet connection. It stands between your computer or your home network and the wider internet.
Okay.
Its job is to monitor all the network traffic coming in and going out. It inspects the data packets based on a set of security rules. If it sees something suspicious or something trying to connect that isn't allowed by the rules, it blocks it.
So it filters the traffic.
Exactly. It helps prevent unauthorized users or malicious software from getting into your system from the outside. Most operating systems have a built-in firewall these days, and it's usually enabled by default, which is good. It's a really fundamental layer of defense.
A digital bouncer at the door. Got it. Now, something we see in web addresses all the time. HTTP versus HTTPS. What's the big deal about that S?
That S is huge. It stands for secure.
Secure. Okay.
When you see HTTPS, it means the connection between your web browser and the website's server is encrypted. Remember that secure tunnel we talked about with VPNs? It's a similar idea.
So the data is scrambled.
Right. It means that sensitive information, like when you type in a password or your credit card details for online shopping, is protected as it travels across the internet. Anyone trying to eavesdrop would just see scrambled nonsense.
And HTTP without the S.
That connection is not encrypted. It's plain text. So if you send sensitive information over a plain HTTP connection, especially on public Wi-Fi, it could potentially be intercepted and read by others.
Wow. Okay.
So the rule is always look for HTTPS and that little padlock icon in your browser's address bar, especially if you're logging in, making a purchase, or entering any kind of personal data. If a site handling sensitive stuff is still using just HTTP, that's a major red flag. Avoid it.
That padlock icon just got a lot more important. Thanks. Now those scary pop-ups. Warning, your computer's infected. Call this number NL Are those ever legitimate warnings?
No. Never. Absolutely, unequivocally never.
Okay, clear on that.
These are always scams. They're designed purely to panic you into either calling a fake tech support number where they'll try to charge you for useless services, or trick you into giving them remote access to your computer.
Or get you to click a link that installs malware.
Exactly. Real antivirus software gives you notifications within its own program window, not through random alarming pop-up ads that suddenly appear in your web browser. If you see one of those pop-ups, just close the browser tab or window. If it won't close, you might need to force quit the browser, but never ever click on anything inside the pop-up or call the number shown.
Got it. Ignore and close. If worried, run a scan with your actual antivirus software.
Precisely.
Okay, we touched on public Wi-Fi, but let's circle back to the free kind specifically.
Mhm.
We know the general risks, but how bad can it be with those completely open, free networks?
Well, the convenience is tempting, we get it, but the risks are definitely heightened with those truly open free networks. Because they're open, it's easier for anyone, including someone malicious, to connect. And as we discussed, they could potentially monitor unencrypted traffic. Even worse, it's surprisingly easy for a hacker to set up their own fake free Wi-Fi hotspot. They might name it something convincing like free airport Wi-Fi or coffee shop guest.
Oh, so you connect to their network by mistake.
Exactly. And once you're connected to their malicious network, they can potentially intercept almost everything you do online, capture your logins, passwords, financial info. It's called an evil twin attack.
Evil twin. Okay, that sounds bad.
It is. So the advice remains, be extremely cautious on any public Wi-Fi, but especially the completely free open ones. Avoid doing anything sensitive, and if you must use them, using a VPN is strongly recommended to encrypt your connection.
Okay, VPN seems increasingly valuable for anyone who travels or uses public spaces. Can you just recap for us exactly what a VPN does and why someone might want one?
Sure. So a VPN virtual private network does two main things. First, it creates that secure, encrypted tunnel for all your internet data between your device and a server run by the VPN provider. This hides your activity from eavesdroppers on local networks like public Wi-Fi.
The security part.
Right. Second, it masks your real IP address, which is like your device's mailing address online. Instead, websites and services see the IP address of the VPN server you're connected to. This enhances your privacy, making it harder for sites to track your location and build a profile based on your browsing habits.
Privacy and security.
Exactly. So people use VPNs primarily for security on untrusted networks, for enhanced online privacy, and sometimes also to bypass geographic restrictions on content, although that's a bit of a gray area depending on service terms.
Makes sense. Very useful tool, potentially. Now, what about those convenient login with Google or login with Facebook buttons? They save time creating new accounts. Are they safe?
They are definitely convenient, no doubt, but they come with trade-offs, a bit of a double-edged sword. Well, when you use one, you're linking that third-party service directly to your core Google or Facebook account. The convenience is obvious, one less password to remember.
Right.
But the risk is centralization. If your main Google or Facebook account ever gets compromised, the attacker could potentially gain access to all the other accounts you've linked using that login method. It's putting a lot of eggs in one basket.
Ah, that's a good point. One breach affects many sites.
Exactly. Also, pay close attention to the permission screen that pops up when you first use one of these buttons. Sometimes you're granting the new service access to more of your profile information or contact list than you might realize or be comfortable with.
So read the permissions carefully. Maybe create separate accounts for less important services.
That can be a good strategy, yeah. Weigh the convenience against the potential risk and the permissions being asked for.
Okay? Now, my browser and my phone are always asking if I want them to save my passwords. Is that actually a safe thing to let them do?
That's a really common question. And for most people, the answer is, yeah, it's generally okay. And it's definitely much better than the alternatives, which are usually reusing weak passwords or, heaven forbid, writing them down.
Better than the bad habits.
Right. The built-in password managers in browsers like Chrome or Safari or operating systems like Apple's iCloud Keychain or Google's password manager on Android, they do encrypt the passwords they store. They can also help you generate strong, unique ones.
But are they as secure as a dedicated password manager app?
Dedicated password managers often have more features, like secure sharing, cross-platform compatibility, and sometimes more robust security audits. But the crucial thing for the built-in ones is that the security of those saved passwords relies heavily on how well you secure your device itself.
Meaning the phone's passcode or the computer's login.
Exactly. You absolutely need a strong passcode, PIM, or biometric lock on your device. If someone can unlock your phone or log into your computer, they can potentially access those saved passwords. So use the built-in savers. Yes, probably okay for convenience and better than reuse, but lock down your device tightly.
Lock the device. Got it. What about older tech? Say, an old phone, an old laptop that the manufacturer doesn't send updates for anymore. Does it become inherently unsafe to use online?
Yes, unfortunately, it really does become significantly more vulnerable over time. When a manufacturer stops providing security updates, we call it reaching end of life, it means any new security flaws discovered after that point just won't get fixed.
They stay vulnerable forever.
Pretty much. And hackers know this. They specifically target older, unsupported operating systems and devices because they often have well-known, unpatched weaknesses that are easy to exploit. Using an end-of-life device for browsing, email, or especially anything sensitive like banking is really risky. It's like driving a car with known safety defects that the manufacturer won't recall.
So time to retire that old gear, at least for important online tasks.
It's generally the safer approach, yes.
Okay. Now, clicking links. We do it constantly.
Hmm?
But if you click on a bad link by mistake, maybe in a phishing email or on a dodgy website, how bad can the damage actually be? Can one click cause real problems?
Oh, absolutely. One wrong click can definitely lead to serious trouble. It's not an exaggeration.
Like what?
Clicking a malicious link could, for instance, trigger what's called a drive-by download. Without you doing anything else, malware gets installed on your device in the background.
Just from the click. Wow.
Yes, that malware could be anything. A virus, spyware monitoring your keystrokes to steal passwords, or even ransomware that locks up your files like we discussed.
Okay, that's scary.
Or the link might take you to a fake website, a perfect copy of your bank's login page, for example. You enter your username and password thinking it's legitimate, and boom, you've just handed your credentials directly to the criminals.
So data theft or malware infection from just one click.
It's entirely possible. That's why that advice to hover over links first to see the real destination is so important. And just generally being suspicious of unexpected links or links that seem too good to be true. If in doubt, don't click.
Hover and doubt. Good mantra. Now, smart homes are everywhere. Internet-connected speakers, lights, thermostats even, smart fridges. Are these IoT devices a security concern?
They certainly can be, yes. Any device you connect to your network and the internet is another potential entry point for attackers. It increases your attack surface, as we say in security.
A fridge?
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
The problem with many smart devices or IoT devices is that security sometimes hasn't been the top priority during their design and manufacturing.
How so?
While many ship with weak default passwords like admin and password that users often don't change, hackers know these defaults and scan for devices using them.
Easy pickings.
Right. Also, keeping the firmware, the built-in software, updated can be trickier or less automatic than on computers or phones, leaving vulnerabilities unpatched. And if a device like a smart speaker or even that fridge gets compromised, it could potentially be used by an attacker as a pivot point to access other, more sensitive devices on your home network, like your computers or phones.
Wow. So what's the advice for smart home users?
Treat them like any other connected device. First, if it has a default password, change it immediately to something strong and unique. Second, check for and install firmware updates regularly if the manufacturer provides them. Third, think about whether you really need every single device connected to the internet. And fourth, maybe consider putting your IoT devices on a separate Wi-Fi network segment if your router supports that to isolate them from your main computers and phones.
Change defaults, update, connect only what's needed, maybe segment the network. Good steps. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. To wrap things up and make it really actionable, if someone listening could only focus on doing, say, 3 things starting today to be significantly safer online, what would those 3 things be?
Okay, 3 key actions for maximum impact, I'd say. Number 1, turn on two-factor authentication, 2FA, wherever you can, especially for your critical accounts like email, banking, and main social media. It's a huge security boost.
Okay, 2FA first.
Number 2, start using a password manager. Let it generate strong, unique passwords for all your different logins, and you only have to remember the one master password. This tackles the massive risk of password reuse.
Password manager second. Makes sense.
And number 3, develop a healthy suspicion of links. Always pause and hover before clicking links in emails, messages, or on unfamiliar sites. Ask yourself, does this look right? Was I expecting this? If there's any doubt, don't click it. Go directly to the site if needed.
Be suspicious of links third. Okay, 2FA, password manager, suspicious clicking.
Exactly. If you implement just those three things consistently, you will dramatically improve your online security posture and avoid a vast majority of common threats.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Really clear, practical takeaways. Thank you. Honestly, this conversation has really helped take something that can feel quite technical and, frankly, a bit scary,
Yeah.
and made it feel much more understandable and, dare I say, manageable.
That really is the goal. Online security shouldn't feel like this impossible, terrifying thing. By understanding just a few key ideas and building some simple, smart habits like the three we just mentioned, you really can take control and significantly reduce your risk. It's about feeling more confident online.
Absolutely. And hopefully, for everyone listening, you feel a bit more confident now, too. Maybe take a moment after this to think about your own online habits.
Right.
Is there one thing, maybe two, from our discussion today that you think, yeah, I could probably improve that? Making even small changes can make a big difference. Here's to being safer online.